Hello and welcome to Crypto TV. This is Manoj Dara. Bitcoin has fallen below $22,000 mark and is down by over 65% from the peak hit in November 2021. Crypto derivatives are diverging from their underlying assets, and a large crypto lender, Celcius, has stopped customer withdrawals, which triggered the panic button in the markets. The largest altcoin, Ethereum, is underperforming, similar to the downturn in 2018. Market participants believe that the potential difference in the current downturn is largely institutional crypto participation selling, as opposed to 2018 when the retail participation trading activity was much higher. To discuss all the reasons behind the fall in the markets, we have invited a special guest, Mr. Rohas Nagpal from HiFi Blockchain. Sir, welcome on Crypto TV.
Thank you for inviting me.
So as we are talking, cryptocurrency markets are in a big concern. So markets are falling on the back of USD liquidity being taken out of the markets as we speak, and at a time when expectations of the higher Fed interest rates are negatively impacting crypto prices. So what's your opinion on this, sir? As we are all aware that the broader fall in the market has led to Bitcoin falling by around, as we see from, in 2018, Bitcoin fell around 84% peak to through, and Bitcoin has fallen 66% from its peak in November 2021. So how can you explain this entire situation for our viewers, sir?
Sure. So I don't believe that external events such as the interest rates and all have much of an impact on crypto. I think crypto is quite a very different world that we talk about. Now, I think this fall which is happening right now is actually overdue. ये काफी time से expected था, because the prices were becoming unrealistic. I will give you a simple example. Suppose in the stock market, the share price of Colgate shoots up. Will that make the toothpaste more expensive? No. Toothpaste का दाम change नहीं होगा.
Right.
But crypto में ऐसा नहीं होता है. Ethereum, which is the most important platform, every time you do a transaction, you have to pay ETH. If the value of ETH goes up, automatically transactions become expensive and people stop using Ethereum for transactions and they move to other platforms. So in crypto, there is a direct relationship between the usability of the product and the price of the native token. But that is not the case in conventional world like toothpaste, for example. So because since last year, Ethereum prices were constantly going up, naturally a lot of people were moving to other platforms. And at some point of time, correction had to come in and markets had to become reasonable. So a lot of the projects which are otherwise not having good use cases, they are all going to fail and they will never come back again. And we will probably now see better projects with more realistic use cases coming back.
Sir, as we are talking about broader fall in the cryptocurrency market, there are a lot of external factors. What is, according to you, is the pain point in this market, and a lot of retail investors are also losing money?
Sure. So we can divide the crypto investors into three categories. So one I would say would be the institution. The second could be the retail investors, individuals like you and me. And third would be the actual projects that are really using the blockchain, and thereby they need to keep buying tokens to pay for transaction fee. So someone like a Bitcoin miner would also come into category 3. So we can say those are the actual blockchain and crypto users. And purely investors, we are talking about retail versus institutional. Now, when interest rates change and when various things happen at the global level, like say COVID lockdowns in China, the Russia-Ukraine war, that immediately impacts the institutional investors in a big way. And how they invest and what assets they hold completely starts to change. And definitely that also has a very negative bearish impact on crypto when such institutions are exiting the market.
Right.
The retail investors, unfortunately, they get stuck in the middle. Because while they are not impacted much by these international events, but they don't have much control over the market. They are very small and fragmented. And that is why they end up paying the price for the bearish movements.
So you mentioned about this third segment as we're talking about Bitcoin miners. There are a lot of newspaper reports and they have mentioned that Bitcoin miners are selling their Bitcoin because of the cost pressure. What is your opinion on that, sir?
Sure. So what happens is when we look at a proof of
that has actually triggered a broader fall in the cryptocurrency market as well.
Sure. So what happens is when you look at proof of work blockchains like Bitcoin, the miner has to spend a lot of money for computational power, electricity, heating, cooling, so many things they have to spend on. So their natural incentive is that the moment you are given a block reward or transaction fee, you have to sell part of it because you have to pay your bills. So a proof of work blockchain always creates selling pressure. Proof of stake blockchain on the other hand is reverse. It creates a buying pressure because you hold the crypto, only then can you stake and make more of it. But the biggest blockchains in the world, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, both run on proof of stake, proof of work. And because of that, that selling pressure is always there. And when the prices are falling, the miner is now forced to sell more and more of his past holding also because he has to continue doing his expenditures. So definitely that creates a lot of selling pressure also.
Sir, you spoke about institutional investors, you spoke about retail investors, and you also highlighted about how Bitcoin miners are suffering losses, and hence they are selling their Bitcoin to just cover up their losses as well. So there is one more category that has been impacted as we speak, is the largest centralized crypto lender, which is called Celcius. It has paused customer withdrawals due to the lack of crypto and fiat liquidity, which is actually, sir, has triggered users' withdrawals on other platforms and exchanges. So what is the reason behind it? And actually this news is of Celcius is triggered by when the market started falling. So how can you explain this entire episode for our viewers, sir?
Sure. So see, Celcius has about 1.7 million users and they have about $12 billion of assets under management, and they are basically like a bank, but bank for the crypto world. And they have made more than $8 billion in loans because they were promising 18% per annum return, which is an extremely high return, right? So a lot of people felt that, okay, this is very good. I can borrow cheaply and then lend the money through platforms like Celcius and get 18% return. Now imagine if you are able to borrow at 3 and 4% and lend at 18%, you will make a huge profit. But these are very unrealistic and they can work for a very short run. But other than that, it defies the laws of economics. If it is actually possible for you to borrow at 2 and 3% and lend at 18 safely, then everybody will only do that. Everyone will leave their jobs and only start doing this lending. But the moment more and more people put that money, you cannot get those returns. And that is exactly what Celcius is now facing. So, but what happens is, if you want to compare this to the NPAs of regular banks, in a regular bank, you are lending in the fiat currency. Now the value of the rupee in India doesn't keep going up and down, right? But crypto banks are not lending in fiat, they are lending in crypto itself. And
exactly.
The value of the crypto fluctuates wildly. So you cannot afford to keep giving that 18% rate of return anymore. And that's the reason now, one by one, so many platforms are beginning to crash because it is not sustainable. Their economics doesn't make sense.
So sustainable business model is something which you are highlighting as of now. Actually, this is the cause, why there was a big sell-off in Bitcoin yesterday. Sir, there are a lot of reasons as we speak. There are a lot of reasons and questions which investors are worried about. One is, of course, as we go back a bit, there was an episode of Terra Luna which happened last month, and that was a trigger, and that was a point when the entire thing happened. Roughly around $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin were sold. Roughly around 88,000 Bitcoins were sold by the Terra Luna to protect their stable coin. So वहाँ से market से recover हो नहीं पाया है. So how can you explain this situation if you go back a bit, and what are the takeaways from this episode, sir?
See, I have always been a critic of algorithmic stablecoins. They have never made any sense to me, and I have always said that algorithmic stablecoins in time will all fail. And as we can see, that is happening in reality. One by one, they are shutting. A stablecoin has to be backed by a stable asset.
Right.
Right. And stable assets are usually the ones which nature has restricted. Right. Crypto you can create, like ETH, unlimited ETH can be created. But you cannot create unlimited gold. But tomorrow, if a huge new gold mine is found, or some asteroid comes close to Earth and we are able to go and mine gold from it, only then will the supply of gold increase huge amounts. But that's likely to be a rarer event. But in crypto, you can create as many projects as you want. There are close to 20,000 projects. They can create as many tokens as they want. So a Shiba Inu can create trillions of tokens. Nobody can stop them. Which is why we have to remember that these are two very different concepts. So when you say stable coin, it has to be backed by a stable external asset, whereas an algorithmic stablecoin is not backed by anything, or worse, it is backed by a crypto itself, and a crypto can never be considered stable. So definitely we saw a lot of problems happening with the US dollar. Even the US dollar stablecoins have been facing pressure.
Right,
like few months ago in India, when there was a news that crypto is going to be banned, suddenly we saw that against the rupee, USDT crashed, but not against the dollar. And that created a huge opportunity for people to, take an arbitrage situation. So where we are seeing weakness even in a dollar-backed stablecoin, definitely algorithmic stablecoins had to fail.
Sir, one more algorithmic stablecoin is under concern.
Yes, I've unfortunately offhand I'm not able to recall the name, but yes, all algorithmic stablecoins, in my personal opinion, will fail over time.
All right, sir. As we speak, you mentioned about government action which was taken. So governments around the world are getting harsher towards crypto. So how do you sense this news as an impact on investors? And is there an opportunity for retail investors, or there were broader concerns as far as the companies who are operating in the particular country and they are moving away to other countries, maybe which are more tax friendly. So what is your opinion as far as the government stance is concerned, sir?
Sure. So when we look at the Indian perspective, so we have a 30% tax which has come in. Now, I don't think 30% is a very high tax because many of the investors anyway come under the 30% tax slab. But yes, where I do understand there is a problem we are facing is that you are not allowed to offset losses. But then that is the case in case of any speculative asset, whether it is horse racing or lotteries, the same kind of a law applies. But what happens is, like I remember in March end, I was telling everybody on social media that it is time to exit everything if you are an Indian, because the tax begins from 1st April. So before 31st March, liquidate all your cryptos, then think very carefully and re-enter the market. And if you have followed that advice, you may have benefited and this current bear market would not have impacted you. Because see, we need to be in line with the thinking of the government of our country. We are not here all trying to become smugglers or criminals and say we will not listen to the government and we will start doing transactions in other countries. No, that is not the right approach. As long as the government of your country is against something, it is not a good idea for you as a citizen to invest in it. So I would say a lot of Indians are actually saved because of the tax. Many of them had sold out, so they may not have faced the brunt of this current crash. But we can see across the world, governments are getting harsh on crypto, and the reasons are very simple. No government can allow a private currency to start taking over because that is going to be disastrous for the common person. Secondly, we saw a lot of these ads being put up by exchanges saying 100 rupees mein Bitcoin le lo.
Exactly.
Now, let us think about it very rationally. Do we actually want non-savvy common man to actually start putting all his saving into Bitcoin? No, that is very, very dangerous. So naturally, the government was then forced to come out with more measures so that the common man does not fall for this. Crypto is a very sophisticated financial instrument, and you need to be very savvy and educated to actually learn how to deal with it. And even the most savvy whales make mistakes. So I think it is all coming together. Many countries are now trying to regulate crypto, and we should give it 3 to 5 years before the global legislations and all fall into proper place, and then maybe crypto becomes a better investment avenue.
So many countries are trying to regulate cryptos. That's what you are saying, sir. But there has been one more concern point as far as the market is concerned. So several exploits and scams in 2022. For example, Ronin exploit, which happened of $615 million odd dollars, Beanstalk protocol flash loan episode, which triggered a 185 million hack. So these exploits and scam, sir, bleed investors and severely impacts market sentiment. That is also a cause of concern, sir. What is your view on this?
Sure, definitely it is. So crypto is supposed to be all about technology. So people in fact say we are not investing in a financial thing, we are investing in technology. Now obviously technology is the most important thing in crypto, but when that technology breaks or regularly gets hacked, naturally it creates the fear in people that the technology is not as strong as we thought. And a lot of these attacks are actually happening on bridges. So bridges basically connect different blockchains to each other. Like if you take the normal real world example, if I'm in India, we use rupees. But when I go to the US, I have to use US dollar.
Right.
So I have to go to a bank or a third party, exchange my rupees for dollars, and I can spend in that country. So when we look at the blockchain world and we want to move from one blockchain to another, they each support only their native tokens.
Right, sir.
So Ethereum would support ETH and Ethereum tokens. Solana would support SOL and its own native tokens. So to interchange them, we need this blockchain bridge, which is a new technology. And because it's new, definitely there are problems and vulnerabilities, and they are constantly getting hacked because a hacker can make huge amounts of money when he breaks a bridge. And that creates fear in the minds of people that the technology is not strong enough. So definitely it has a huge impact.
So, all right, sir. As we are discussing about the top reasons why the market is under broader concern, just let me give you a recap. We discussed with Rohas Nagpal about the macro factors which are impacting the cryptocurrency market, right from inflation, right from the US interest rate scenario which is building up, and a broader sell-off by the institutional investors. And we are now discussing about the internal factors which are impacting the market, such as Rohas has highlighted about the scams, and we are discussing about internal factor. Let us discuss one more internal factor with Rohas. Is in 2018, Ethereum has fallen roughly around 92% as we speak, and it has fallen roughly around 73% from its peak. So if we go back to what the entire Ethereum episode is as of now, the merge is something which is getting delayed day by day, or by month, or maybe by years. So what is your opinion, Rohas, as far as the Ethereum universe is concerned? Because there are a lot of concern in the markets. Yesterday, there was a news that roughly around 1.5 billion worth of staked Ethereum were sold, that actually triggered a broader fall in the market. So what is your view as far as the Ethereum universe is concerned?
Sure. So whatever I talk about, I always think as a developer or as a blockchain architect. So when I look at the Ethereum blockchain, while it is the best blockchain out there without any doubt, it has become very expensive to use. It is just like, imagine if tomorrow the price of petrol becomes 1,000 rupees a liter. It will impact the entire economy.
Right.
So as ETH goes up and Ethereum becomes costly to use, the entire decentralized finance ecosystem becomes unsustainable. Now, for a long time, Ethereum has been trying to upgrade its technology so that it can make transactions cheaper and faster. And one of the most important things in that is to move from proof of work to proof of stake. And this has already happened in a parallel chain called the beacon chain. And this is the Ethereum mainnet. They are supposed to merge. And that is the meaning of, that's why we keep using the word the merge. But the merge is constantly getting delayed. So people are now beginning to become disillusioned with it and thinking maybe it will not really come soon. And maybe the whole ecosystem is going to fall apart.
This was the reason why the Ethereum staked Ethereum were sold, sir?
Yes, to enable proof of stake. But proof of stake is not a reality yet. We are still waiting. Right now it is happening on the beacon chain, but not on the main production blockchain.
The test process has begun.
Yes, the test process began quite some time ago. But unfortunately, we are not able to get a concrete date on when the real thing will happen. And it's constantly getting pushed, which obviously means there are some serious technological difficulties. Another thing we have to remember is that proof of work has been very secure so far. But proof of stake is not tested enough in the world. So it is possible that once Ethereum moves to proof of stake, new technological challenges may arise and the whole Ethereum ecosystem could collapse. The technology could actually break.
So that is actually a bigger concern as we speak. Sir, there is one more topic which I wanted to discuss with you is the layer 2 solutions which are attached to this Ethereum ecosystem. So as you rightly said that Ethereum is trying to solve its high gas fees problem and the power issues as well. So layer 2 solution, what will be the way forward? Will they survive? Will they exist? When Ethereum एक दिन तो सर वो कंप्लीट करेगा अपना मर्ज, तो उसके बाद में उनका क्या आउटलुक है सर लेयर 2 सॉल्यूशंस का, आप बताएं सर.
Very good point. See, I believe fundamentally the concept of layer 2 is not logical. I mean, the blockchain should be strong enough to do things on layer 1. The moment we start doing this patchwork of putting band-aid on top of the blockchain, we are heading in the wrong direction. See, I believe ideally Polygon should be just a pure independent blockchain of its own.
Perfect.
It should not be a sidechain of Ethereum. Ethereum itself should grow properly that the L1 is able to do all the things that it is required to do. So fundamentally, I'm not convinced with the whole concept of L2. But if Ethereum's merge does not happen even this year, I think then it is better to move on to, like I personally, since last year, I moved on to the Binance Smart Chain.
All right. Sir, as you're talking about Binance Smart Chain, there are broader concerns as far as the BNB coin is concerned. So there is one case which is going on as far as the Binance ecosystem is concerned, which is actually not going well with the investors. Although the market is down, but there is a broader concern. But we are discussing about the internal factors that are impacting the market. So as per what is your view as far as the BNB coin is concerned and its way forward?
Sure. So now when we look at the Binance ecosystem, actually they are doing many things. In fact, many people don't know that Binance is also one of the largest Bitcoin miners. They also run a lot of the top sites like CoinMarketCap and other informational databases. They also run the Trust Wallet. They have their own centralized and decentralized exchange, and they have two blockchains, and now they're planning a third one. So Binance has many things put together. I am talking only about the smart blockchain of this. That needs BNB as its native token to pay for transactions, but that's a very low cost. So there we are not facing any problem, and I'm very happy to say that the Binance Smart Chain transactions go fast. I have not really seen much downtime. BNB prices, on the other hand, is an altogether different story, but it doesn't really impact the smart blockchain much because the transaction fee is anyway very low. So no matter whether Binance BNB is at $600 or $200, it doesn't make much of a difference to me when it comes to transaction fees.
Sir, as we are talking about the internal factors, what are the concerns in the markets? Solana has been under a broader concern because of its outages and the frequency at which it is happening. So, what is your view on Solana?
Sure. So I used to be a very big fan of Solana, and I have spoken very positively about it many times. But then off late, I have begun to see far too many technological problems. See, blockchains are supposed to be decentralized. But when an entire blockchain can go down for 18 hours, what does it prove to us? That it is very centralized. Because if there are thousands of nodes running and normal people like me are running nodes, why should the entire blockchain go down? So because of the technological problems, I would say I'm staying away from Solana as of right now. Secondly, we have to also realize something. What are the use cases which startups are building? Are there actually so many use cases in the world that we need newer and newer blockchains? Every new blockchain says, I am faster. I can do, say, 20,000 transactions a second, 100,000 transactions a second. My question is always, do we need that speed?
Exactly.
Are we actually even doing so much business on the blockchain that we need this speed? And I think the answer is no. Even at a 7 to 10 TPS of Ethereum, I think it can handle most transactions. Or a Binance Smart Chain with 3 and 4 second block times can handle it. Do we really need so many new blockchains?
So as we are talking about what are the internal factors that are causing the fall in cryptocurrency market, sir, the hype around NFTs seems to be dying out. What is your opinion? Since the beginning of 2022, we have seen broader volumes come down. What is your opinion on this sector and the way forward?
Sure. So NFTs are of many types. We have the digital image NFTs, which are the most popular today, but they make no sense to me. I mean, like, I will give you a very simple example. How many people actually pay and buy physical art and put it at home? Very few. Now imagine how many people actually will be paying for digital art. What is the point? What do I get out of it? You know, those are not questions no one is answering.
Right, sir.
Now, many people say that you can take your digital art NFTs into your metaverse. So I'll give you an example. Behind me, there is a wallpaper. It is a physical wallpaper. I had to pay somebody. I bought it. They came and pasted it on the wall. Now, tomorrow, when I build a home in the metaverse, maybe I will pay for the digital version of this as an NFT and then take it into my home in the metaverse. Oh, when is that going to happen? The metaverse is yet very far away from mass adoption. I started using metaverse in 2003 when Second Life was created. Today, we are in 2021. 18 years later, I still don't see the metaverse getting mass adoption. So when is the world going to reach a place where we will buy digital art and take it into our metaverse homes? I think those are very far-fetched. So that is the reason I believe today's NFT version will not really last.
So one last question before we let you go, sir. What is your advice for our viewers who are watching this interaction? Markets are steering towards, as we speak, Bitcoin is steering towards 2017 high, which it made of $19,500. So what will be your advice? को क्या करने चाहिए इन्वेस्टर्स ये टाइम पर जब भी मार्केट इतना ज़्यादा ब्रॉडर कंसर्न्स में है, उनका स्ट्रैटेजी क्या होना चाहिए, सर?
अगर आपने मेरी बात सुनी होती और 31 मार्च के पहले बेच दिया होता, then I'm presuming right now you're not facing losses.
सर, अभी जिन्होंने नहीं बेचा है वो अभी क्या करें?
Unfortunately, उनके बारे में I'm not able to give any advice. But those who did sell, now is a time to kind of slowly start moving back, but don't start with the big project. Identify pre-listed projects, means they are not yet listed on the crypto exchanges. They are in the initial stages, but those use cases are solid. There should be very nice use cases, and you will be able to get pre-listed tokens at a very cheap price today.
Fantastic.
And the best way to find them is to go to the airdrop sites. And whichever new projects are giving airdrops, which is free cryptos, first of all, sign up and take the free ones. Then whichever projects you find really strong, start taking a little bit of those. But stay away from the main projects for now, because we don't know how much more it is going to crash. It is next to impossible to predict the bottom. Nobody knows when the bottom has come. So I would say wait for some time. But start with pre-listed, which you can get for free in airdrops. I would recommend that as the next step.
No one can predict where the market can take a U-turn. That's the word coming in from Rohas Nagpal. Thank you so much, sir, for joining on Crypto TV and educating our viewers. You gave a fantastic macro view as far as why there is a broader concern in the cryptocurrency market. What are the external factors? And you also spoke really well about the internal factors. Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this interaction. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So that's all there is in today's interaction with Rohas Nagpal. Keep watching Crypto TV for more such interesting interactions. Thank you so much.